There we go. Yeah. Gotta be kidding me. Oh. Hey, we're about to go live here, folks.
Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. From the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now, here's your host, Art Carlson.
Alrighty, welcome to the show, folks. We got a great show today. I am going to kind of bounce back and forth between Facebook and YouTube so I could keep up with the chats, see who's chatting. Okay. Alright, everything looks really good. And why do I have a black screen? Okay, something's gone bonkers. Facebook Live is not doing anything. Hey, Chuck, Dennis, Vince, Steve. For some reason, I'm not getting. Are you guys getting a picture on your end? Just give me. If not, then what I'll do is I'll see if I can restart this. Anyhow, here's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk about Bret Stephens and his lunatic idea that we should repeal the Second Amendment. And then I'm going to read Keith Noble's note. He wrote a really brilliant... oh, you guys can see me, okay? That's great. That talks about the Second Amendment and how the Constitution relates to classes and nobility. And then we'll talk about why the NRA was founded. And if we have any time, we will talk about the Foothills Republican lineup. They've got a bunch of left-wing media people. Sean Boyd from Channel 4, Chuck Plunkett of the Denver Post, and Joey Bunches of Colorado Politics. So I may, or my volume's too low. Well, maybe you should turn up your volume, Steve. All right, how's that? I'll move the microphone a little closer. Anyway, about this event at the Foothills Republican. I don't know if I should go because I might accidentally leave my BS meter on my phone and it might go off when they start talking. So I don't know if Rick Enstrom wants me to be there because, oh God, I just might tear into these people. All right, let's. All right, if everybody sees me okay on Facebook, then let's get this started. All right, I was listening to my good friend Jimmy Sengenberger's show on KNUS, 7:10 a.m., and he played a clip from an interview of New York Times columnist Bret Stephens. And he just goes on and on about so-called liberties, so-called rights. Like, he's got a problem with that. And it shows the guy's true colors, how he feels about the Constitution. And he doesn't understand why this was written, and I'm going to talk about that a little later, so it's going to be pretty interesting. I mean, I think this guy's a nut for even thinking like that. I mean, it's almost anti-American what he wants to do. And he thinks it's going to stop the gun violence. It's not going to stop the gun violence. There's 320 million people and there's over 300 million firearms out there. It's going to be impossible for the police. I mean, I can imagine this guy nutty enough to say, well, why don't you get the National Guard and go house to house to pick up all the weapons? And that'll take them off the street. Well, yeah, what you'll do is you'll end up disarming the law-abiding person and leaving them open to attacks by lawbreakers. They're not going to turn in their guns. They're not even going to allow you to take their guns. And there's going to be some legal gun owners. It's going to get ugly if it comes down to that, to where either the police or the military come in to try to confiscate your weapons. Because I can guarantee you there's a lot of people out there that will just say, screw you, come and get it. And I see some nut jobs on Facebook that are lawful gun owners, and they're destroying their AR-15s. I mean, what did that accomplish? Oh, wow, that's one less gun on the street. Don't you feel better? Why don't you just, if it makes you feel that uncomfortable, why don't you sell it and sell it to someone who is a law-abiding person that's not bothered by owning a AR-15? All right, we got a lot of people here tonight. Also, I want to apologize for this bruise I've got on my jaw here. No, my girlfriend didn't beat me up. I had a tooth pulled earlier this week, and even though it's on the upper jaw, somehow I got a bruise from this, and it might have been from, having my mouth open so wide that I don't know how it happened, but it was it wasn't painful, I should say. The dentist did a wonderful job. I just happened to have a tooth that was going bad, and when he went to pull it snapped. Anyway, so I don't want to get off on a big long tangent, but Dr. Goat, he's a good dentist. Did a good job. And so let's get back to this. And yeah, so it's tragic what happened in Parkland, Florida. And there's even some talk about some of the students want the building torn down. I mean, that's just crazy. I mean, they didn't tear down Columbine. They didn't tear down Sandy Hook or the other schools. And the next, class that came in, they dealt with it. And they dealt with it in a mature, rational fashion. All right, so I am going to open up this note from Keith Nobles, and let me go here to my files, and I'm going to open it up on... Okay, here we go. Keith writes, let us re-explore some reality this morning. The United States is a society without an assigned or hereditary classes. It was specifically designed to be a society without classes. There's no monarchy here, no nobility, no aristocracy. As much as some people would like to sledgehammer a class-based society into their narrative, it does not exist. No matter what your father is or is not, what your skin color is, what your last name is, what your religion is or is not, what your ethnicity is. There is no one out there prohibiting you from doing something. No one. All of the clenched fists screaming in the world will not change this truth. The Second Amendment exists precisely because we are a society without classes, and because those who drafted the Constitution desired to move to a society without class distinctions. In other words, all citizens would have the same rights. That is the foundation of the Second Amendment, that there would not be rights that some people gain while others are denied those rights. The Second Amendment was penned in the context of a European society, a society in which only the nobility were entitled to keep and bear arms. In fact, for much of the post-Roman European history, the nobility was defined by if you had the right to keep and bear arms or not. It is not that the United States was designed not to have a nobility, but rather that every citizen in the country was the nobility. There would be no serfs in the United States. There would be no separate classes within districts, distinct rights assigned to those classes. All rights would be equal for all citizens. Those who argue against the Second Amendment do not argue for a society without firearms. They argue for the exact opposite. They argue for a society where the right to keep and bear arms is right granted to some and denied to others. What is more, those who argue against the Second Amendment almost inevitably specifically point to other nations as their examples. The other nations they point out to are most always monarchies with class-based societies in which your right to keep and bear arms is dependent on which class of society one has inherited. Yes, their argument is so absurd that no, you cannot make this shit up. These people that are arguing in favor of gun control are arguing that they themselves are insufficient to be worthy of equality before the law, unworthy of equal rights. That's how broken our culture is. That some people are arguing vehemently in favor of the government taking away their freedom and equality because liberty is too great of a burden for them to shoulder. We have basic choice to make here. We will strive to be a society without government-mandated class distinctions, or we will return to the nobility serfdom model that the Constitution was specifically created to renounce. Do you have natural rights inherent to your humanity? Rights such as freedom to express yourself as you wish, the right to worship as you wish, and the right to defend your life, property, and liberty? Or are your rights nothing more than a whimsy of a politician or bureaucrat? Choose wisely. Well said, Keith. Well said. All right, we got Dave Miller, Scooter McGee. Welcome to the show, Scooter. I look forward to being on your show next month. Excuse me for doing my Joseph P. Kennedy III impersonation here. I just had lunch, so there. Feel better now. I'm all dried. I'm back in the saddle. And then we have Robert Miller, our Aussie watcher. He's here. That's great. All right. So Keith really nailed that with his writing there. I hope it hits home with you folks. Certainly did to me. All right, so let's talk about why the NRA was founded. The NRA was founded in 1871 by former soldiers of the Union to help protect the newly freed black slaves from the KKK. I know Jeffrey Washington might dispute that, so that could be a whole nother topic. But yeah, the NRA was actually an institution kind of like the ACLU of the 19th century to help those people that newly gained their freedoms from oppression and slavery. And the Democrats, they fought the NRA tooth and nail from the beginning, and they're still doing it. And that shows you how racist the Democrat Party really is, because they know that when a person is unarmed, they could be easily controlled. And that is what's happening in some of these major urban areas like Chicago, where they have the highest murder rates in the country. They have some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Now, how is another gun law going to help those people? And one of the ways to help those major cities is to, lift some of the regulations that's holding back these businesses that want to come in to serve those people, to sell their products to those people. And if those companies come in, they will hire those people, and those people will be more prosperous, and they will be less likely to engage in criminal activity. And when part of the reason why Democrats don't want prosperity is because they know that if an individual or couple makes over $50,000 a year, that they are more likely to vote Republican. And it's a fact. All you have to do is look up the statistics and see which what the income level is and where the breakoff is. Now, the NRA, they were like one of the first civil rights groups in America. And I just read a story just prior to the show. Condoleezza Rice, from Alabama, and she's from that same town where those girls were murdered in that bombing of that church, and how she described her father sitting out on the porch with his gun, watching out for KKK people coming around the neighborhood. See, now he was smart. He was armed. If he didn't have that weapon, those people would have swooped down on that neighborhood, and they would terrorize those people and maybe lynched a few of those men. And that is why the NRA was founded. And now the Democrats and leftists have turned it around to make the NRA the racist group. Now, on top of it, here's another thing that's really starting to piss me off, are these companies that are severing their ties with the NRA, like Delta and United Airlines. And I'm going to be doing some more flying in the next year. And I have to decide, gee, do I want to give my business to United Airlines to get to Asia, or should I'll just have to find another carrier. If I could get Frontier to fly me to LA or San Francisco, and I could pick up ANA or Nippon Airlines, because they fly to Manila. I know, Rick, I said I wasn't going to talk about the Philippines, and Rick has a big deal about, nobody wants to talk about that. So, let's see what Scooter has written. School, city, county, state, and federal officials are the broken ones. We need to repeal the Patriot Act. Well, Scooter, I have a little take on that. We can talk about that a little. Then dismantle the DHS, the FBI, and prosecute those who failed up and down the chain of command. There, I agree with you on most of that. The Patriot Act. Okay, this is where Scooter, I assume you're probably more libertarian than Republican, and I hear a lot of these far right Republicans saying we need to repeal the Patriot Act because they're looking at our emails and listening to our phone calls. And I go, man, you people are paranoid. You're picking up on liberal talking points, and you're being a pawn. You're being used, what did Lenin always say? Useful idiots. You're becoming useful idiots. They're not looking at your email. They're not listening to your phone calls. To listen to your phone calls, you gotta have a warrant. The only people they are surveilling are people that are known to have ties with people in the Middle East, or people who associate with people in the Middle East. Because you gotta have some surveillance that could help us to prevent another 9/11 style attack. Part of the reason why 9/11 happened was because information between the CIA and the FBI couldn't go back and forth. And because of that, that's how that tragic day happened. Now, had there been a Patriot Act back then, I think a lot of those students, they would have been arrested. They would have been caught and detained, and they would have foiled that plot. Same way with the early bombing in '93. I don't know if it could have prevented the bombing in Oklahoma City. I don't know if they could have prevented that, because that was an individual and he had help from one other person. So that would have been really hard to track down and to surveil. Now, in the wake of 9/11, I think we need a Department of Homeland Security, because we're in a different world right now. We've got a lot of people that want to do us harm overseas. Let's see if I got any messages. Oh, the Wallace Live. All right, Wallace Live. Thanks for joining in. I hope you like my shirt. And that's why I think we need a Department of Homeland Security, because we're facing a lot more threats from overseas, and we gotta have. I don't know if we need a separate department, or maybe it might be a sub-level of one of the other departments, like Department of Defense, maybe. Maybe it could be like a branch of the Department of Defense. Just like we used to have 3 departments. I think we still have Department of the Navy, Army, and Air Force, and Marines, I think. So, some of you people out there, I think the libertarians are the ones that are really paranoid about anybody listening. I think they actually think that the government is like going, like Keith Peterson's. I don't know, but he's saying something. We better read his email. Better listen to his phone call. Is he making a phone call to Yemen? Is he talking to Mahmoud? Better listen. I mean, and that's my opinion. I think that's how kooky some of these libertarians are. All right. Okay, let's see. Anybody else have questions? All right, Robert, thanks for joining the show. Robert Miller said he missed, but shall try to catch it later. Good, great. Every time that there is a firearms-related incident in the U.S., the snowflakes want to ban guns, but none can say how they're going to get around doing it, and here we cannot use firearms to defend our homes and protect our families. The criminals are better looked after than the victims. And this is a guy from Australia telling us what's going on in his country. Boy. And Steve Epstein says, I assume you know a lot of paranoid pot smoking Colorado libertarians. I bet a few of them do smoke pot, and if you've met some of them, you'd say, yeah, I bet he smokes dope. Because uh, they're nice people, but boy, they just sometimes I just want to shake them and say, "What's wrong with you? You're smarter than that." Oh boy. And that kind of leads me into how I think the libertarians here in Colorado are going to bring down the government here in Colorado. I hope I'm wrong, but we have a key. Well, the Democrats want to flip the Senate here in Colorado. Once they flip the Senate, then they control the General Assembly because they've got a 9-seat majority in the House, so we got to flip 5 seats in the House to gain back the. And with the census coming up in 2020, so by 2022 we will have our new redistricting and reapportionment maps, and I don't think it's going to be a good day for us. I think what's going to happen is the Democrats are going to sue, they'll go to court, and the state Supreme Court will end up saying, yeah, we'll go with the Democrats' maps. And that slowly but surely Colorado becomes California, or at worst, Hawaii. Did you know in Hawaii there is only one Republican serving in the state assembly? You know what? I don't even think that person is even there anymore. I think that person resigned over something a few months ago. So, I mean, the Democrat Party runs that state. And California is just about the same way. They've got super majorities in the state assembly, and that's why. And they're raising taxes like crazy over there, and businesses are fleeing the state. Oh, this is another thing that really hacks me off. Is here we get a lot of these tax breaks, and then these stupid ass states go to undo them by jacking up the taxes in their state, thinking, oh, we're going to make up for that revenue that we lost. God, you're just going to further screw your state into the ground. I could just see, I know California's doing it, but and Illinois is probably another one. And the states like Connecticut and New York, they've already said that they're going to raise taxes there. And what's going to happen is a lot of those companies are going to flee those states, and they're going to go to the southeast, like Alabama or South Carolina, and their economies are going to go gangbusters. People are going to start fleeing those states like New York and Connecticut, and Michigan. Michigan used to have something like 23 congressmen, or closer to 25. Now they're down to 18. And Colorado is poised to get another seat after the next census, because we've gained nearly 1 million people in the last 10 years. And I really don't know if that's a good thing for the state of Colorado, because a lot of the people that are fleeing those states, well, and now that we've passed we've got legalized recreational marijuana. We got young people flocking to Colorado, and and a lot of them are liberals, and they're going to vote that way, and they're going to vote for people. I mean, so, oh boy, I just hope that I'm so wrong. But ever since I moved back in '81, I've been seeing this slow drip, drip, drip by the Democrats. That used to be the Republicans had a huge lock on the state assembly. It was almost like 3/4 were Republicans, and the only places they had Democrats were, the districts in Denver, Boulder, Pueblo, and then the rest of the state was red. And now it flipped in 2006, when the first time the state house flipped from being Republican controlled to Democrat controlled. And they held on to that till I think 2010, and then the Republicans gained back the House, but they only held it for that one cycle, and that was right when the new maps came out, and everything just went downhill. All the seats that used to be solid Republican seats are now Democrat seats. And and now Michigan is starting to turn the other way, because they're losing so much population in the Detroit area and in Flint that slowly over the decades Michigan became a redder state. And it's a good thing for them, because now manufacturers are coming back to Michigan, and their economy is doing much better. And hopefully, if Detroit could go through a new revival, a renaissance, where they start electing Republican council members, that maybe they could turn that city around, and the city could get out of its debt. And same with Flint. I mean, look at how Flint really screwed themselves on their water problem. And now that they got the water issue fixed, I don't know, I think it's just one, but it might have been several, but very young kids died of pneumonia. And now they're trying to blame the Republicans because they didn't put enough fluoride in the water. Oh, God. All right, let's go back to YouTube. All right. The lighting looks good. I like that. I don't know what's going on Facebook, why I can't see. Getting a little parched. All right, we got Jim and James, the show. Welcome to the show. So we've got a big road ahead of us. We got caucus coming up in a couple weeks, and I'm trying to decide, what do I want to do? Do I want to go to county assembly, the congressional assembly, or the state assembly? I definitely want to go to the state assembly because that's going to be the big show. Because number one, you're going to have the candidates for governor are going to be there, most of them. However, there are 4 candidates that are petitioning to get on the ballot. And they are Victor Mitchell. I like to call Mr. Moneybags. Because he loaned himself like $3 million for his campaign. And he raised some money, but not nearly enough as Walker Stapleton. Walker Stapleton already has $1.4 million. He's petitioned on. Greg Robinson, he's petitioning on. And who else? I'm trying to think. Somebody else is. Cynthia Koff. But Walker Stapleton is going to be at the state assembly, and he's confident that he'll get enough delegates that he'll get on the ballot. I think he will. And I've talked to Walker. I think he's a solid candidate. I think he's our best shot at winning the governorship. And I know there's going to be all these Liberty folks, but he's at Bush. He's like a really distant cousin of the Bushes. And he doesn't talk to any of them. He doesn't get a phone call from George W. Bush or George H.W. Bush saying, "Hey, Walker, yeah, how about those points of lights, yeah. Kinder, gentler state, yeah, that's a good idea. So, here's what we're gonna do." No, he doesn't talk to any of those people. He is his own candidate who just happens to have some relationship. Genealogy aspect that he's related to those folks. And then there's Greg Robinson, and he's the nephew of Mitt Romney. And I like him too. I think he would be a good candidate. Solid guy, businessman. He definitely raised the money quickly for his campaign. Now those are the two that I think that could defeat the Democrats. Victor Mitchell, I don't know. I don't know if he could raise any outside money to help him out. However, he's pretty wealthy. He could spend his own money to self-finance like Jared Polis is. Now, Jared Polis, he's not a lot. And it turns out that Mike Johnson has already turned in his petition for his candidacy, and he just may make the ballot. But here's the wrinkle. He's the only one that did so. He had plenty of signatures to meet the qualifications, and he did it without spending any money, and he did it with volunteers. Where the other candidates, they had to spend a ton of money on volunteers to petition. And I imagine Kerry Kennedy is probably petitioning on as well. Jared Polis, he doesn't have to worry because he's got a boatload of money that he could spend on his campaign. So I think it still will be a two-man primary for governor on the, at least on the Democrat side. It might be a three-way race if Kerry Kennedy could get in. Now, you know, the other two candidates, they're going to try and say, well, we're more moderate than... And Jared Polis, he's way out there, loony left wing. And he's the only congressional delegate from Colorado to vote to impeach Donald Trump. That shows you where he is and how loony left wing he is. So I think this is going to be an interesting race. Then we've got the treasurer's race. That's going to be interesting. I think all of those guys would make good treasurers. Kevin Lundberg, he's been in the state assembly for 16 years now. So he's got a solid record. He's an excellent state treasurer. Britta Horn, she's the Teller County treasurer. So she's got knowledge in that. And then there's Polly Lawrence, she's state representative out of Roxborough. And she's got a lot of legislative experience in spending and that part of the legislature. Same with Justin Everett. Now, Polly, she's raised a ton of money. I think she's the odds-on favorite to get the top line. Justin Everett, he comes in at second, but the problem he has is he's associated with RMGO, which is not very popular in a lot of places in Colorado because of Dudley Brown's bullying tactics. And so that hurts Justin. Now, if he wasn't associated with Dudley Brown, I'd probably give him more credit and I wouldn't give him such a hard time. But he chose to associate with people with questionable ethics. Alright, so let's wrap up the show. Lastly, we're going to talk about Foothills Republicans. They are one of the local Republican groups here in Jefferson County, here in Colorado, where I live. And my friend Rick Enstrom is he's the director of this group, and he's doing a great job. I'll talk about this next show about the Congressional Assembly. That's going to be interesting. Anyway, They've got an upcoming event here where they're going to have Sean Boyd of Channel 4 uh, TV station here, and she's like the political pundit over there at Channel 4, and of course we know she's left wing. She's not loony left wing. Chuck Plunkett, however, he's the editor of the Denver Post, a newspaper that is slowly swirling the drain. It is about to fold. So instead of trying to make the paper to where more people would want to read it, it's become a print version of MSNBC. And MSNBC has the lowest ratings of all the network and cable news networks. So rather than doing something to fix their paper, make it more palatable to more people, they say, screw that, we're going to keep doing the same crap over and over, even though it's sinking us down, 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 down. Now it's getting to a point where now they still have a print paper that they they still print a paper, but they do they have a digital site that you can go to. But if you want to read anything, you've got to pay to read it. So they've got a firewall there. So, and then there's Joey Bunches of the Colorado Politics, and I know very little of him because I don't read that publication. And from what I've gathered from some of the things I've seen around on the internet, I think he's probably to the left. So part of me wants to go to this thing and just really hold these people's feet to the fire and say, stop giving us baloney. We know you hate Trump, and you're going to do everything you can to try to damage his presidency. And you guys want the Democrats to control Colorado. We know that for a fact. So don't try to polish that turd and say, look, hey, yeah, we really like Republicans. No, you don't. You hate our freaking guts. And if I do go, I'm going to have a sound effects on my phone, like a buzzer. And when it goes off, I'll say, oh, sorry, that was my bullshit meter that accidentally went off. But let me see if I can shut it off. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And then when they start talking about something you know they're full of shit on, you just go, oh, sorry, I don't know what's going on. It's picking up all this bullshit. And I don't know, I guess Rick thought that, well, let's just get these people in and show them that we're nice people and we're not racist. These people hate us. They see us as evil people. We're not going to change their minds. So why are we bothering having these people here? They're going to just, like Sean Boyd's going, well, the poll said that Hillary Clinton was going to win, and she did. So why should we believe your poll? Yeah. So that's my opinion about that. All right, I got a question from the Wallace Life over here on my YouTube channel. And he says, how do you feel about the Philippines becoming more and more westernized? Well, with technology making the world smaller and smaller, it is changing the world that we live in. And it's the same thing in Japan. And South Korea, even in China, they're becoming more westernized. And in one respect, I think that's a good thing, because I think it might be able to help them to get a grip on their corruption, and to do something about their poverty rate there, because it's still a third world nation, but I think they have the potential of becoming another South Korea, where they've got a booming economy, and where a lot of Filipinos will be employed in the Philippines. And if we could do that, then they wouldn't have to go to places like Saudi Arabia or Kuwait or Qatar or whatever, where they're being treated like crap, especially the Filipinos that are getting jobs in those areas. They're treated terrible. As a matter of fact, I've got some Facebook friends that are OFWs in, I think, Kuwait, and she complains about how her boss talks to her like she's his property or something. So, and then my future brother-in-law, he's working in Pakistan, and I don't know, he's probably still making a lot more money there than he would in the Philippines. But he seems to be doing okay over there, and he's happy, and it's great that he's able to send. Here's the deal. I'm just worried about, are they paying him in a timely fashion, or he could send a portion of that money back to his family in the Philippines. So, okay, do you consider it a good thing? Because well, it could be that the end, and I think some of it is Westerners that are marrying Filipinos, and the cultures are starting to meld there. So, yeah. Because most. And I'm going to have to deal with that, because I'm engaged to a Filipina, and I plan to go out over there next March, not March, but February, and spend a good chunk of time there. So, okay, so you live in Indianapolis. Okay, that's good. Now, your wife lives with you in Indianapolis. How is she dealing with living there? Boy, how is she adjusting it? Well, it's probably not that cold in Indianapolis right now. It had quite a cold spell. All right, over here on Facebook. Olichka joined the show. Margot, Gary, Ray, welcome to the show. Hey, can you guys see the picture over there on Facebook? People are telling me they could see me. That is great. I also on YouTube. I'm answering a few questions over there. So, hey, it's something different, and I'm glad that that this is working out. And I want to check on something here. Okay, we look good there. Alrighty. So, from the video that I could see on YouTube, looks like I've got really good lighting. You can see my face, which is good. It's getting a little dark outside. I've got my shades open, so I'm getting some natural light. Alrighty, so we got 2 people watching. Oh boy. So, oh, alright. Well, that's wonderful. The Wallace life, his wife has become a citizen this year. That is awesome. She's been here since April 2013, and she's from Davao City. Awesome. Great. So I'm going to wrap up the show here, and here's a few things that I want to talk about next week, or at least one of the topics, is that I've been following this YouTube channel, and it's about an American who's building a home in the Philippines, and just recently he was in the hospital with kidney stones. So I am going to talk about the difference between their healthcare system and our healthcare system. I think you will find it very interesting. How about you folks over here on Facebook? I think that should be a pretty interesting topic, and it's relatable. Maybe we could talk about, okay, why does it work there, and why is it so tough over here? So, and we'll delve into those differences, and it should be an interesting topic. Alright, so I want to thank you all for coming to the show, and you have a wonderful Sunday, and have a great week. God bless you, and God bless America.
Welcome to Art's Place, conservative talk from a different view. From the Casablanca studio in Golden, Colorado. Hosted by Art Carlson. At 4'6", liberals fear him, and conservatives love him. He's definitely a giant among men. Now, here's your host, Art Carlson.
Bye-bye, folks.